everyone, this is Lomi, and today I'm doing an artist's choice face up for a Faewoods, it's you know what, I know I'm going to say it wrong, so we're just going to move on. A lot of people call these Frankenstein girls for pretty obvious reasons, and this is definitely one of the cooler dolls I've gotten to handle because the patchwork and stitches are actually cast into the resin itself. That's part of the doll, part of how it's made, and it can never be wiped off or removed. From a technical perspective, that's super impressive, and I loved getting a chance to see it. Since she already has a lot of bold color at work here, I use black for eyelashes and eyebrows. I use my usual gouache paints for this. Every time I paint a doll, I get questions about the materials I use, so just as a reminder, I actually have a supply master list linked in the video description, so you can see a full list of everything I use. I paint her lips with a bold purple because I want to set off that purple patch on her face without matching the color exactly. Using an opaque paint also helps me cover some staining that remained in the deepest parts of the mouth after I removed the residue of the old Faceup. It's normal for deeply recessed places like that to have some staining because they can be very difficult to seal, but fortunately it's a really easy place to cover up. Her greenish resin is going to be interesting to blush, and I use a lot of purple and blue around her eyes and under her mouth. I can't resist traditional pink blushing across the cheeks and nose though, and I think using a complementary color like that really looks cute. Because of how richly pigmented her resin is, she'll need quite a lot of blush to make it stand out. I'll probably need to use at least 2 heavy layers of pink to get the color I'm ultimately hoping for. I keep most of her eyeshadow focused on her eyelid, but I'm really just building up some base tones here for when I add shimmer later, because I want to use heavy pearl powder on her eyelids. I was hoping my pastels would be dusty enough for me to pick up a bit of dark blue for her eyebrows right off the stick, but it wasn't enough to stand out against her resin, so I ended up scraping some into my ceramic palette to work that way. I don't want her brows to be too dark, and I felt like browns or black would end up looking muddy on this resin, so using dark blue lets me keep the colors within the range I want. In order to bring a little saturation into the brows, I touched them up a bit using a watercolor pencil as well. Since it worked really well and was great for ramping up color fast, I decided to use purple watercolor pencil on her eyelids to save me a few layers of blushing. These Arteza pencils have a really creamy consistency, so they go on super smooth. I just wish I had done a better job of staying in frame. Now that some basic shapes and colors are in place, it's time for me to add some fun. Something about the purple and green really made me want to incorporate a contrasting metallic, so I went back over the eyeliner with a metallic gold gouache. I hadn't originally planned to add gold to her lips, but it felt like it added a nice weight to it. Not everyone will like it, but that's okay. Her owner does, so that's all that really matters. As I worked on this doll, I started to get kind of a Harlequin vibe from her, which seems to be a different direction than what a lot of people go with the Frankenstein girls. I think it's the soft roundness of her face. But I didn't want to take a more traditional Harlequin path with lines or diamonds over the eyes, because that turns really clownish really fast, and I am really not good with clowns on an emotional level, which is kind of funny since, like, the circus is in my blood. I like other circus stuff, just not clowns. So instead, I decided to incorporate diamonds on the sides of her face, using metallic purple gouache that I think pairs nicely with the purple resin patch she's cast with. It's dark enough to stand out, but similar enough to create some unity from one side of her face to the other. And then I add a few spangles around them just because I thought it would be cute and sparkly. Then at last I get to incorporate all the shiny pearl powder. I coat her eyelids super heavily with pearl powder across several layers of sealant, because sealant tends to mute the shine. I also dust it around her eyes and across the diamonds on her face. Last of all, I felt like her upper lip needed some gold too, so I added some just along her cupid's bow, just the tiniest hair-thin line of gold. The gouache holds up its shimmer nicely through multiple layers of sealant, so I think I'll have to remember that for future projects too. This girl is ready for gloss now and gets to go home soon. And that's all for today though. Thanks for watching. Bye.